Hello everyone, today we're working on a 2001 Chevrolet Silverado HD 2500. Has the 8.1 liter gas engine with the Allison automatic, and we're having trouble with the 4x4. We're not getting the front axle to engage, and when I turn the key on, wait till the dinger quits going here, but what happens, I have kick in the four-wheel drive and the button or the light flashes, and I can hear the encoder motor on the transfer case kicking in, but the front axle's not kicking in. And I verified that when we have it in 4 high or 4 low, we've got the drive shaft to the front differentials moving, so that's all working as it should. And check codes. I got Snap-on Modus here, and we're going to check the current codes. There's no codes present with this one, and I'll check history codes as well. But the only thing that's happening is we've got flashing on those on the lights on the 4 high and 4 low, and it's just not, there's no codes there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pull out that the front differential actuator, and I'm going to have that hanging out from the differential plugged in, and we're going to take control of it. I got some functional tests with the Modus that I can do and see if we can actuate it that way and take control of it. Okay, there's a skid plate that goes under here that has 4 bolts that holds it on. We take that off. We unplug the this actuator here in the front differential, and what I use is a rigid spud wrench to get that off. You can use a big crescent if you can get it in there, but this spud wrench works pretty good. They're not all that tight in there. But go ahead and we'll take that actuator out. It unscrews, and what we're going to do is plug that back in, and with the Modus I can take control of the through the module and try and stroke that out. It's motorized. It's got a plunger in here that actuates that differential. There's actually a button in there that gets pushed on by that motor and that actuator. So I'm going to try and take control of this and try and extend it and retract it and see if I can take control with the Modus. So we're going to try that, and we'll be back with you. Okay, we got the Modus hooked up here and we're at functional tests. We've got the actuator out, and we're going to try and take control of that actuator and actuate it here through the Modus. So we're going to go into the functional tests, and we're going to scroll down to front axle switch. We can turn that on and off, and it's going to bring that up. Okay, now we're showing 4-wheel drive high on the encoder gear, and this here's flashing off and on here, the 4-wheel drive high lamp, which it is doing up there in the dash. I've seen that. And we're going to turn on that front switch. You can watch right here, it goes from on off. And it's not actuating, it's not doing what this is not coming out like it should be to actuate that front differential. I'll try it here a couple times, but yeah, it's just not, it's not actuating. So, okay, next thing is we're going to start checking some wiring on this to make sure we got power down to this, and all the needed wires are in good shape coming down to it. So we're going to get the wiring diagram, and we'll start with that. Okay, this is a picture of the wiring diagram for that truck. This here's the front axle actuator, and there's 4 wires. You got a ground wire, battery positive, control, and switch. And what we're going to look at is the battery positive, and we're going to look at the ground wire, and that battery positive comes all the way up here to hot and run. So when the key switch is on, it's got power to it. And then that ground wire, it goes on left front body mount. It's ground number 110. So that grounds out right below the cab on the driver's side, right behind the driver's side front wheel. So that's gives you some idea of what we're looking at. And these other wires here, this is a switching wire that's controlled by the module that comes up and goes into the transfer case shift control module. And basically that little motor has to reverse and forward in and out that actuator. So right there is a switch wire. That's your ground, battery positive. This is a control wire, and that's what's telling the position of that motor, so it stops it at the end of its stroke each way. We're going to focus on the battery positive and the ground, and this gives you some idea what we're looking at. And that battery positive is a brown wire, that ground is a solid black. Okay, we looked at the wiring diagram, First thing I'm going to check for is the power coming down, and that's on the brown wire, which is this one right here in this corner, which coincides with this one right here. I got the power probe on, and we got battery voltage there. Okay, then there's the main ground, which is a solid black. There's one here with black and a white tracer. That's not the one you want. We want to check the solid black, the ground wire, and looks like we got no ground. Okay, and that wiring harness, it shows it going to the body of the truck below the driver's side door on the cab mount. So I'm guessing somewhere between here and there we've lost our ground. Okay, so we're going to try and track that down and see where we lost it at. So we're going to start digging, we'll be back with you. Okay, the next connector up the line for this transfer case, or this motor on the front differential, is right here under the hood. And there's a connector there, so we're going to unplug that. And again, we got the same wires, same colors as we had below. And this one right here is a solid black one. It'll be this one right here in the end. We're going to check it for ground there. Yeah, we've got no ground there either. Okay, so we're going to keep going. We're going to head back to the next connection will be underneath the cab. And we're going to check it there and see if we got an issue there where it makes its ground connection to the body. Okay, the end of our ground wire is right here. This is below the cab on the driver's side. It's actually right here by the step. Right here's the front tire. But we got two grounds here. And this wire here is a little bigger than the one we had in that plug-in. This one here is another one. And, oh, wow. I think what happened right there is we got the road salt with all that stuff splashing up here. We live in the Rust Belt. I think we got a bad wire ground right there. Kind of pulled right in two. Let's see what that wire looks like. I think we found our ground issue. Yeah, that wire is pretty scuzzy under there. So we're going to buzz that terminal off. It's tied in with this other wire. And I'm guessing both those wires are probably in pretty bad shape. Looks like that road salt can get right in there and start eating on them. I'm going to buzz this off. It's going to be loud. There we go. There's actually two grounds under there, and that one was joined in with this one. See if I can get it opened up. Yeah, you can see that wire is pretty rotten there. That is the ground for that front motor for that differential actuator. And it looks like basically that road salt got in there and ate up the wire. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to relocate this wire, I think, up under the hood so I don't have the issue again with that road salt. This one here, I'm just going to put a new terminal on the end of it and hook it back in. And this other one here, I'm going to shorten it up. I'm not going to bring it down here to behind the wheel. I'm going to take it up there. I'll show you that when we get that far. But looks to me like that's what's going to be our issue with that motor. I'm going to re-terminate this ground up further up under the hood, and then we'll see if that takes care of it. Okay, we're under the hood, and here's that plug-in we had tested before. And that black wire, again, is this one right here. It's a solid black wire. Now, what I've done is it comes in and it kind of wires or ties into this loom that goes underneath the cab. Right here's that black wire. I've taken it out of the. You got to take off some black tape, and you got to take off some of that wire loom cover. But what we're going to do is we're going to cut it about right here. We're going to bring that wire up, and we're going to add on to it. And basically what we're going to do is tie in right here is nice ground where you don't have to worry about corrosion and road salt. Okay, so that's going to give us a whole lot better ground than what we had there under the cab. And that'll still provide, we're going to plug this plug-in back in right here, because that goes down to that front actuator. And it's right here kind of in behind the power steering a little bit. You can see it. Plug that back in. But we're going to terminate this wire right here. So we're going to head and do that, and we'll show you what it looks like when we're done, and then we'll do a test on that actuator, see if it works when we're all done here. Okay, we've got this ground wire connection made, and we're tied in right here with the old wire. Our new wire comes up. Basically we tied in with this ground here that gets hooked to the engine, back of the engine. So that should be a good solid ground. And now we're going to take the modus and we're going to try and stroke that front actuator and see if it works. Alright, here's another tip for the grounds, especially the ones under the vehicle, a way to keep them from corroding. Amsoil's got a product called Heavy Duty Metal Protector, and it goes on as a liquid, and then the solvents evaporate and it leaves behind a dry waxy film. That dry waxy film, you can't power wash it off. I mean, it stays put, and what it does, it locks out the oxygen. So like these terminals up here with the ground, I'll hit those with that, and it penetrates deep into the wires. And I use it on battery terminals as well, but any of these ground cables, and especially the ones underneath the vehicle, I hit it with that. Another spot is like your hood latches. It's also an excellent chain lube. And what that stuff is like, you can see it. I mean, you'd have to scrape it off with a scraper once you got it on there, but it cuts out the oxygen so you get away from the corrosion. So once you got your grounds underneath clean, coat it with this, a coat or two of this, come back after a half an hour, maybe an hour, you know, let the solvents evaporate, but it leaves behind a dry waxy film that cuts out the oxygen, so it takes away that corrosion. So just a little piece of advice there, and what I use on most all my vehicles. So works very well. Okay, we got the ground wire fixed. We're going to go into our functional tests again, and we're going to take control of this through the modus here and see if we can make that thing actuate. Okay, here we go. Well, what do you know? She works good now. Okay, looks like that bad ground wire is what did it. Looks like it's working like it should now. Looks like that's going to take care of this problem. Alright, we're going to put this actuator back in, and that'll be the end of it for this. Got this problem put to rest. So if you live in the Rust Belt, that's one of those things you can't overlook, is that ground wire, because there's a lot of crap gets thrown up from that tire on the back there, especially that potassium and magnesium chloride, and it just eats away at those wires. Every time it gets moisture on it, keeps going. So, but that puts this problem to rest. Okay, we got this all done. We got the actuator motor back in, and we got rid of the blinking light. Go to 4 high, everything kicks in. I'm going to back up here a little bit. Go to 4 low as well. Let's pop the neutral here and let it jump in. There's 4 low. It's kicked in good. So we get everything working like it should again. Just a bad ground on this one. Thank you for watching my video. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe to my channel at youtube.com/c/Donsoil. I'd like to introduce you to Amsoil Synthetic Lubricants. We have the most complete line of synthetic lubricants on the market that offer you greatly reduced wear, extended drain intervals, longer equipment life. You can check that out at my website, donsoil.com. I also have a website for looking up fluid capacities. It's fluidcapacity.com. You can go there and print off the capacity of your engine oil, cooling system, transmission, transfer case, differentials. Be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Don Synthetic Lubes. Thank you, and have a great day.